Greetings friends, Paladin Depression here, and in this video I'm going to show you the Wally World Barbarian, which is a baba that is broke as fuck. Maybe he just got through hell and is looking to farm up some currency selling his body in drugs. Maybe he's broke because his baby mama's using up all his runes buying bullshit like Gucci bags and forum gold. Now, do I know how to build a baba? Fuck no. But I got 3 principles that keep me building something solid. And they are that it feels good, it looks good, and whirlwind only. Follow those tenets and you can't go wrong. Sure, you can be a Poindexter, bust out the IIS calculator and whatnot, and tune this bad boy to peak performance. But I hate to break it to you, pal, your crush still ain't gonna respect you. After I'm done showcasing the broke boy, I'll show you something a little bit more respectable. The kind of baba who does all his shopping at Target. You know, the one who didn't get his girlfriend pregnant in high school. The baba who gave a shit about his credit score and graduated magnum comes very loud from college. Feel free to criticize it all you want, but I made this in the hopes to help young barbarian bucks out there find a direction in this giga chat of a mod, Project Diablo 2. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the content. Like, subscribe, send nudes, follow the Twitch, all that good stuff. I'll be streaming some Season 6 content there, so you're more than welcome to come and hang out. Stay beautiful, you sexy bitch. Alright, my friends, let's get started, shall we? With the gear, we are using an Obedience and a Cryptic Axe. These runes are very attainable, you know, day 1, day 2. The stats are too good to pass up. Now, I will say this, if you get lucky, I would much rather be using a Reaper's Toll, right? The amp damage is too good to pass up. But this right here is all reliable. You can't go wrong. For a helm, it's a crafted blood helm. I didn't sell it. I don't really care too much about the base. I just care about the stats, and this is giving us attack rating, mana, life leech, crushing blow, enhanced defense, a little bit of life, a little bit of res. It's pretty dope. The amulet was some random ass one that I found. It's got 2 to war cries, which is pretty solid, right? A little bit of all res, attack rating, pretty cool. You could also craft your own amulet. I'll leave a link in the description below that kind of has a list of the different crafts you could do. Feel free to do that. I couldn't be bothered, so I just went with this. The chest piece, Lionheart, again, very cheap to make, and the stats are solid. You know, you got enhanced damage, you got strength, dexterity, vitality, even more life, and all res. You can't go wrong, right? It's just very cheap to make. You'll find these runes for sure. I think probably the hardest thing that'll be, well, the thing that'll give you the most trouble is, you know, finding a base at 3 socket, but you know, you will prevail. I'm sure you can make it happen. For the gloves, blood gloves, it's got attack rating, life leech, crushing blow, life, and a little bit of resistances on it. The rings are very random. I just spawned them and kind of hope for the best. I wasn't really looking for any stats in particular, but I think, you know, attack rating, res is pretty awesome. If you find a Raven Frost, go for it, dude. The cannot be frozen is huge, right? I would much rather be using a Raven Frost. There are some weapon options too that can give you cannot be frozen, but after some testing, it wasn't slapping as I wanted it to. I think it was called, let me see if I still have it in my inventory here, because instead of going polearm, I was thinking about going like double sword, right? And I was messing around. I think it had like a Lawbringer, and yeah, here we go, Voice of Reason. I mean, you're more than welcome to do that if like pole arms aren't your thing, but again, it was kind of underwhelming, right? But the decrap was really nice, really safe, especially for hardcore, which is what I'm going to be playing. But anywho, if you get a Raven Frost, use it. Other than that, just look for attack rating, res. That's my recommendation right there. Maybe even some more life, mana, leech, but I think that's pretty much covered in some of the crafts that we have. Again, blood sash right here, life leech, open wounds, enhanced defense, life, resistances. It is awesome. You know, crafting is, I think, so underutilized in my opinion. I don't really see a lot of people doing it, except if you're like a throw barb or like the best in slot weapons are crafted. But other than that, I mean, crafted gear is just so good. For the boots, we went safety, right? It usually gives you some kind of physical magic damage reduction. It rolled some magic fine too, which is pretty nice. You know, faster run walk, all the normal stuff. On swap, we got 2 spirits. I went overkill here, I think. I don't think spirit is too hard to make, but if you're playing in a team, most likely the casters are going to be fighting over the runes to try to make their own goddamn spirit. So maybe spirit on day 1, day 2, like double spirit might be unattainable. Who knows? At least 1 will suffice, right? Something that you find a suicide branch. Don't tell anybody. Just keep it for yourself. Use it to give you +1 all skills for your battle orders. As far as the Merc, I don't give a shit about the Merc, right? I'm just using him for his might aura. Don't do what I do. Equip him, make him feel nice. I think I put a guardian angel on him because of it's what I had, and I was using this for a Zealer build that I was working on earlier. So there's that. He's got Ore Riders. Hell, he's in a better position than I am. Shit, give me those Ore Riders. Am I right? What the fuck? Let me put those on. Nah, forget about it. He's naked. I just use him for the might aura. Now, because we're using obedience, we could actually give him Lawbringer, right? And that'll give us the decrepify that we need. But when we swap over to Reaper's Toll to kind of show it off a little bit, then I wouldn't want to use it, because now you're just fighting, right, over procs. And I'd much rather have amp damage over decrepify, even if we are playing hardcore. Now, as far as the skills go, as far as the combat masteries, I maxed out natural resistance because I am lacking in the resistance department. Kind of, you can see there. Oh my god, you can still not see it. Where's my webcam? There we go. So as you can see here, they're not maxed out. The ones that matter do. Right, our max, which is lightning and fire. But I would most likely try mitigating this with charms, which right here I just have some random ones. You're more along your journey, you will be finding some res charms. Hold on to those, right? We don't have a torch or anything like that, so just make sure you're working on res. You could even forego Lionheart and go with the smoke, right? If that's what you want to do, that works too. Survivability is always going to be better than damage, and you can't do damage if you're dead in hardcore. But yeah, so for that reason, I maxed out natural resistance, right? I think I put like, how many points did I put in here? I think like the remaining points I put in Iron Skin. So and the order that I did this was that I maxed out Polearm and Spear Mastery. I maxed out Whirlwind, obviously. And then I maxed out Battle Orders because it, you know, Battle Command, I'm sorry, because it increases your damage. And then I maxed out Natural Resistances, 1 point in this, 1 point in that. And remaining points I put it into Iron Skin. So that's how I divided it. Is it the best way to go about it? Who fucking knows? But it works for me, right? And Project Diablo 2 is awesome because you could just kind of do what you want and it'll all work itself out, right? So let's get started and let's see what this bad boy could do in Chaos Sanctuary. See, Decrep already working in our favor. They busted out too, but it ain't working for them. Now, I hear there's a trick to whirlwinding. I might have developed a bad habit from Diablo 3 because the first time I've ever played a whirlwind, right, was in Diablo 3. And over there, you just kind of hold down the right click and just let it do its thing. You can kind of get away with it here, but as you can see, I kind of like struggle on like single target. And from what I understand, is like you want to do like a little triangle, right? So find a little area that you want to damage and do a little triangle. At least that's what they tell me. Sometimes I feel like I still don't hit anything. But if you guys have any tips on how to properly whirlwind, please let me know in the comments below. And the reason why we're doing Chaos Sanctuary, I think it's just one of my favorite places to farm, right? Especially for Whirlwind, you got these big open areas. And you always could get something nice from Diablo. Typically, I would do Chaos Sanctuary, Trav, maybe even some cows, and then we'll throw in a map in there. I think I have like a tier 2 or something. Oh wow, look at that, a unique amulet. You know, I wasn't really picking anything up. Nokaza, hey. I know I left some charms, and yeah, as you can see right there in the loot filter, so it's probably making some of you guys cringe, but that's okay. We're just trying to showcase the damage. You see, this thing, for what it is, it kicks ass. Granted, we are level 90. I'm sure that, you know, plays a role in it too, but for all intents and purposes, man, like, you can't go wrong with this. Cowabunga. That's what I say. Oh, but he's got fanaticism. Who gives a shit? All right, let's switch on over to Reaper's Toll. And you're gonna see here now, we're gonna remove this. Yeah, we'll leave that on the floor for now. We could just always craft another one. The amp is really nice. So if you get lucky, right, you might just save yourself some runes and don't even have to craft it. But the amp damage is pretty cool. But you're just as fine with an obedience, so I wouldn't fret too much. You can't get one of these bad boys. Your Ermonloff or whatever his name is struggling because, see, I'm a terrible master to have, because he's working with the bare minimum here. He's slapping with a wet noodle. I didn't give him a weapon. Well, I took it away and dropped it on the ground. Oh no. And why am I acting so surprised that he's dead? I'm usually not too bothered with being frozen. It does slow you down. It could get you killed and whatnot, sure. But I'm not bothered by it, right? It's just whirlwind away. I can give a shit. What do I have in here? Okay, I think it's a weapon that I want to showcase a little bit later. Now this is where I kind of struggle, and I'm not sure if it's just a whirlwind thing, right? But I can't seem to like get the boss damage down. And I'm trying to do the whole pyramid thing or the triangle thing, but I can't because Diablo is so fucking tall. I can't click above him. So I'm just usually I end up just doing this. So if you guys got some tips on how to go about that, let's switch on over to back to obedience here. Please let me know, because I am struggling. Or maybe it's just a weakness of the Whirlwind Barb, right? I had the same struggle in D2R, but I always just kind of chalked it up with being ass at the game. At least it gives you guys time to like catch up and talk about life. Can you die already? There we go. Hey, look at that. And he gave us an essence. So there you have it. That's Chaos Sanctuary. We're going to go ahead and move on to Trav. And we're going to stick with the obedience setup, right? That way we could still use Lawbringer, because I think at the end of the day, that's probably a safer bet. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so we're here at Trav. The Merc's going to die, regardless of what gear he's got on, I think. I mean, if I probably put some better stuff on him for, like, I don't know, fire absorb, he'd probably stay alive, but he's gonna die. So I'm really used to running Trav solo, right? This could get a little bit dicey. I'm already seeing a spoopy aura here, but for early farming, I love Trav. Now occasionally you're gonna have to skip it, because you will have like one dude who's like stone skin and physically, you know, physical immune. And I can't be bothered. So I kill what I can, rinse and repeat. And there you have it. I think that's pretty much it. Sometimes you get lucky and get another, Jesus fucking Christ. These guys are hungry. You might see a few more elite packs here, which is kind of cool, right? As far as the build goes, maybe you could invest some points into like buying item. I haven't messed around with working in PD2, so if you guys think it's worth it, by all means, build into that. So you see, Trav, easy peasy. Obedience, holding strong. Now we're gonna go ahead and move on to a map. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and run a, let's see, what do we got here? A tier 2 map, Ruins of Vision, seems like. Oh, it's got hell bovines right on. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's see, we still got the same setup, right? And we'll see how we fare. Buff up here. Now, another thing that I forgot to mention, right, as far as like the skill tree, you could invest also into Battle Cry as well to help with your damage. That's definitely an option there. I didn't go with it because, you know, I'm a simpleton and I used to have glue as a teenager. Not bad, not bad. A little scary, I'm not gonna lie. But I think fortified maps. Oh wow, look at that. Sacred Targe, all res drop. Are probably gonna be the way to go. Right, for melee builds. But at the same time, I'm not sure how that fares against Whirlwind, because like if you're a Zealer, it's a lot easier to focus on one enemy, right? Assuming they can get them by themselves. With Whirlwind, I think the way fortified map works. Oh fuck! Let me out. This is when Cannot Be Frozen is useful. See, that is when you need Cannot Be Frozen there. So the way I think fortified maps work, it's that, oh shit, you have less enemies, they have more health though, and I think there's better drop chance or some bullshit like that. I think it's supposed to be catered towards melee, and that's always an option too, because I know going through really big density is exhausting for a melee build, but I'd imagine for Whirlwind, I don't know, I think it's the opposite. The more there are, the more fun it is. These guys are fucking thick. Yikes. So we're struggling, that's for damn sure. So maybe tier 2 is not the way to go. For early game, fucking hell. At the very least, this keeps it exciting. We're not even into the map yet. Fuck. Cowabunga. Maybe T2 rare maps are not the way to go. But LOD content, no problem. All right, so as you can see, we struggled in that last map. We're going with just a regular magic one. So this budget stuff maybe doesn't hold pretty well the spicier the maps get, but we'll see how he does in this one. Oh boy. The hell spawns are like meaty as hell. Okay. But at the very least, you could do some mapping with it. And you can participate if you have stronger friends. That's for sure. We can't juice just yet. But I think at this point, you're probably better off farming LOD content, to be honest. Not exactly sure what kind of strategy I would take. I'm a whore for Chaos Sanctuary, so I'd be there for a while. you know, before I even come to maps. But that's usually how it goes anyway. Yeah, I think we've seen enough. For the most part, it does okay. It's definitely struggling, but given the right map, you might be able to clear it. As far as efficiency goes, I'd much rather be doing Chaos Trav over and over and over and build this bad boy up. So in this next segment, I'm gonna go ahead and show what that could look like, right? And that'll be the target shopping Barb. And we'll go to the same places. How I think we might even go to the last map that just absolutely kicked our ass to see how we fare. So hang tight while I make the switch. Okay, now it's time for the target Baba, right? The Baba who kind of gave a shit about his credit score and did all the right decisions in life. I don't think this would be considered end gear whatsoever. By D2R standards, I think it probably would be up there, but in my opinion, with like the drop rate and the community in PD2, you could easily probably trade up to all this stuff within like the first week, depending on how much you grind. So let's go over the gear, right? We got a G face here with an rune just for the extra resistances. You could go like what's that one called? I think it's called Ariats if you get lucky. I think if I found an Ariats, I'd much rather be using that, but I feel like this one is really rare, right? So until then, I'm completely fine with a G face and an rune. It gets the job done. Weapon, we have Grief, right? Yeah, it's a low rune, sure, but in my experience in PD2, like I said, I tend to find stuff pretty fast, way faster than D2R. So I think a Grief is very doable. You could also go with like an Oath, right, which is much more cheaper. Shell pull Mount Lum, but honestly, if I would much rather save up and get a Grief going than an Oath. But this works just as good too. If you guys still prefer pole axes and stuff like that, please feel free to give some suggestions in the comments below. I like going to, you know, one weapon each hand because it's big dick mode, you know. You did all your shopping at Target. You want to let people know. And one weapon on each hand just looks badass as fuck on a barbarian. But that's just my humble opinion. At this point, we do have a torch, right? What's it even roll? So low res torch, low energy, and low vitality. So nothing amazing, but we got one going. And then I would just probably still try to fight like attack rating, you know, max damage, life charms, res, and try to stack those up. But I didn't bother. I could have easily just spawned like, you know, max charms and stuff like that, but I feel like that's also very unreal, right? So I'm still rocking the same shit that I was using with the Walmart Barb, except the gear is a lot better. The chest piece is a duress. It's pretty sick for, you know, the enhanced damage, the crushing blow, open wounds. You could even go up and make a fortitude, right, if you wanted to. If you were lucky enough to find another low rune, I would probably go for a fortitude, but this is fine. Laying of hands is cool, right, because the increased damage to demons, the increased attack speed, it's got some fire res, some defense. I would much rather prefer Drax, right, because I just really like it. It's got that life leech, it's got some extra strength on it, and it's just it's my favorite pair of gloves in the game. This time we do have a Raven Frost, so we saved on dexterity, we get a little bit of attack rating, and the cannot be frozen is pretty sick. Probably not the best choice if you want to be horking though, right, because then everything's going to be shattering. So I would probably just do the cannot be frozen in like a Trang's belt or something like that. String of Years, Demon Hide Sash, more life leech. It's got physical and magic damage reduction. I think this is one of the rings that I was using earlier, right? So that hasn't changed. I don't have this ring for any particular reason aside from like the mana leech and the attack rating and some res, sure. But that'll be up to you to decide what you want to do and how. You might even want to go for like a dwarf star if you want, like the fire absorb if you want, but I would much rather have a nature's peace because it's got all that like damage reduction and stuff. And I think you could get a heart of the oak out of it too. So if it were up to me, I would go for a nature's peace, but that's just my opinion. An amulet. Now there is metal grid. I grabbed this because of the resistances and the attack rating is pretty nice. I never bothered using Iron Maiden on it. I'm not even sure if it's any good, right? Another option is High Lords, but I feel like this one is more rare. I could be wrong. I tend to run into metal grid a lot sooner than High Lords. Which one I would go with? I think if I was really hurting for res and stuff like that, I would go for metal grid. But more often than not, I like High Lords because the increased attack speed is nice, the deadly strike is nice, the lightning res is nice, and it has a badass name. And I'm all about badass names, dude. So just let me know, what do you think? Do you think High Lords is better? Do you think metal grids is better? Do you think a crafted Ami still works just as fine? I'm sure it does. What would you use? Now for the second weapon we're using, Lacerator, right? It's not just for throw barbs, baby. The amp damage is sweet. It's got enhanced damage as well, and open wounds prevent monster heal. Pretty solid, pretty solid. As far as the boots go, Gore Riders on Swamp, we still have the Double Spirit. Our Merc is a little bit more decked out. We gave him our hand-me-downs. He still has the Guardian Angel. We gave him the stuff that we were using with the Wally World Baba, and then he has a Lacerator as well, you know, for an extra chance of amplified damage. You could use something else if you wanted to. Please leave your suggestions in the comments down below, but I think this works all that fine. I usually never really care about my Merc though. It's probably a bad take on my part because Mercs, they could make or break the build sometimes, but I'm a simple guy, you know, and obviously he's using the Might Aura, so it's beautiful. At this point, I wouldn't, you know, I don't think I'd bother with Chaos, but when I warm up and stuff like that, getting started for the day, you bet your ass I at least go to the Black Mass, you know, once a week at the Chaos Sanctuary. We're just gonna move past these things. Like a large journey. As you can see, even like Obedience, I think, was killing stuff around the same rate. So if you're still stuck in like LOD content, Obedience works just fine. Except this time now we have, you know, an increased spike in damage and style points. And do we get scared by fanaticism? What do we say when we see Dr. Seuss? Cowabunga. Hey, and he pooped out a Wilson shard. That's how you know you hit him really damn hard. I hate these finger things because they always take your mana. Juicy. I love it when they line up like that. Like a solid line of that Colombian white lightning. Whirlwind Barb always kind of just reminds me of Beyblade though. You guys remember that one? Let It Rip. I never actually used the toy, but that was pretty lame, but I did like the show. And now the struggle versus the boss, because I still don't know how to fight bosses with Whirlwind. At least we have Yermanloff. No, Yermanloff. If anything, I think he's doing all the damage. So much faster, but it was still kind of rough, right? Like, it didn't look pretty, but we got the job done. Let's go pay a visit to Trav, because it's one of my favorite places to farm, especially early on. Even though we don't need to be here anymore, it still serves just as well, I think, in the late game. I think Trav is like a comfort zone for Barb, because a lot of Barbs, they stay here, and some of them are unlucky and never leave. You know what I'm saying? You have stone skin? No? Now we're gonna go ahead and mess around with the map. So this time it's still a rare tier 2. We're gonna try Shadows of West March. For no particular reason. I think my favorite like early maps is, I think Sanitarium it's called. But I'd imagine like you'd want some really linear ones, right? Because you could just go down range and kill things. I can't see what I'm doing here. So much smoother. That's for damn sure. Or maybe the last map that we had was quite nasty. In general rule of thumb, you don't want to do what I do and not pay attention to the modifiers, because that could kill you, especially in hardcore. But more often than not, I don't give a shit. A Barb doesn't have time to read. You go in there, you get slapped really hard, then you figure, oh shit, we can't do it. You know, we move on to the next one. Because then there's also some maps that seem very scary, in my opinion. And then you actually kick some ass, right? But some people are just like too scared to go in. Because, you know what they say, you fuck around, you'll find out. And sometimes they don't want to find out that it's very ouchy. Okay, that aura scares me. I think that scares me a lot more than... Woo. Yeah, it scares me a lot more than fanaticism. But we did okay. It's really the first time I started making these kind of videos, because as a D2 player compared to most, I'm not very knowledgeable. You know, I just kind of slap things on, and if things are dying faster, then I figure I'm building right. So I wouldn't really know too as far as like, you know, budget builds go, because I think budget can be very subjective. I felt like the very first one, the Walmart Baba, was very budget friendly, right? This one seems very attainable, but to some people, a grief is like endgame, right? Because their whatchamacallit, their rune luck is just ass. So I understand that. So if you guys have like some kind of middle ground, please let me know, right? That way you kind of have like a little roadmap yourselves too, to see how like you want to progress and build your barbarian. Am I gonna go barbarian for season 6? I'm not sure just yet. I'm kind of tied between barbarian and zealer. When I started playing Diablo, I played nothing but zealer. It was my favorite thing. I like the in-your-face style of melee in general. That's why I think Whirlwind resonates with me, but I have a feeling Whirlwind is gonna be very popular this time around. Been watching Dark Humility test it, and it looks, you know, and it's a lot of fun, especially in hardcore. It's very risky. I kind of got over the whole hammered in Fist of Heavens, you know, sorceress thing. Oh, look at that. Apparently we found a... Here it is. Viper Magi. Look at that. Low roll on the resistance, but pretty cool. Pretty solid. Might hold on to this to mess around on the sorceress. Yeah. I think I really like melee, and I think melee is the way to go for me this season, because I'm tired of casting. It's undeniable, right? You go like Sork or something, if you want efficiency, if you want to be farming a lot of this stuff really fast, and Sork is definitely the way to go. But the cool thing about PD2, right, is that from what I understand, Senpai is something not a big fan of teleport, which I'm all for. I love teleport, don't get me wrong. You roll a sweet, sweet Enigma, right? And you know you fucking, oh my god. You work really hard for it. It feels nice to go, you know, victory lapping in a bad boy. And I like the way, even though it was kind of a surprise to me, I like the way they handled, well, the way Senpai handled Enigma in PD2. Right, because it's not teleport now, it's blink charges, and that's pretty cool. Because I did a Mind Blast assassin for season 5, and you know, I got really lucky with runes, dude. I found like a burr on like day 4 because I was farming arcane. Yeah, but then I was like surprised because again, I'm much more familiar with like D2R, and when I saw that it was blink charges, at first, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit disappointed, and I felt like it was a waste of a burr rune. But now it worked out just fine, because even then, I try to play very safe when I'm teleporting around. So, you know, blinking, killing everything, a few things, blinking again was just the right pace. But you do feel it when you're, you know, so it was the point that I was trying to get at, is like when you farm keys, because I try to go for Ubers as soon as possible. And I like that in PD2 you have 2 options for each key, right? And I feel like one is more travel on foot friendly than, you know, the other, right? So people who have teleport or don't have access to teleport as well, they have the options. And it's also like, you know, double the chance of getting a key, because Jesus, dude, sometimes I'd run keys for hours only to like find only one, you know, in D2R. Oh no, the Merc died. So that's pretty cool, right? So that's why I'm not gonna be too pressed on like trying to get teleport as soon as possible. I think melee is the way to go. I'm having a lot of fun with the Whirlwind Barbarian. I tried to throw Barb, and even though he was, well, technically he was fixed, I felt he was a little too powerful. And I'm all about power, sure, but I like a little bit of challenge. I like the risk of getting in monsters' faces, right? And I think that's why melee just very resonates with me. Well, there you have it. I hope this helps you make your decision as far as like what you want to play with the Barbarian. I think Whirlwind is going to be awesome, and it could kind of give you an idea of like what to aim for, right? Starting from like the Walmart Barbarian to something else. Now again, if there are things that you guys want to suggest as far as maybe the next step up, or maybe a better gear options as far as like the current build, and you know, the stats are about the same. I mean the skills, I didn't change much. I allocated the same way, right? Which is I maxed out natural resistance. I think the remaining points went into Iron Skin, one in each of these utility ones, maxed out General Mastery instead of Poles, maxed out Whirlwind, and then I maxed out Battle Command, right? 1 point Battle Orders. So if Horking is your thing, I'm not exactly sure how good Horking is in PD2. You could probably put your remaining points in that if that's something you want to do. Have like a Magic Flying Whirlwind Barb, that's awesome. But yeah, there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Feel free to drop by the Twitch, right, which is twitch.tv/Wally twitch.tv/PaladinMcSkoob, where I'll be, usually I stream like D2R stuff, but for this season, I'm definitely gonna be playing some Season 6. So if you want to come by, say hello, maybe even run some maps together on hardcore, you're more than welcome. The tavern doors are always open to you. And until next time, my friends, much love and cheers.